everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Helena and today I'm filming my first knit and chat video. And when I'm knitting, I consume a lot of media and mostly it was YouTube, and I was not finding that much what to watch on Netflix. But recently this winter I found a few TV shows which hooked me, and that led me into watching even more of the Netflix, and I really enjoyed and want to share about them today. So all of them were Korean TV shows. After I watched first one, I was thinking, okay, it was interesting. Let's see what other, I think, Asian stories Netflix recommended would be. Then I watched one episode of some Chinese TV series and I really didn't like it. It didn't hook. Then I decided, oh, I always like detective TV shows, so I tried to watch more detective Korean TV show, and I really enjoyed. So in today's list I have 7 TV shows. All of them are Korean and 5 of them are detective shows. And yeah, so let's start by mentioning that I'm wearing my Fatal by Karen's design. I'm currently working on my Aberdeen sweater by Drops Design for my fiancé's gift. I recently joined the Arms. It is a bottom-up sweater. So recently joined the Arms, and yeah, I'm working on it. And yeah, I will be working on it for this episode. So yeah, my taste in TV shows is that I like thrillers, I like, I don't know, fantasy, action worlds could be, I like true life detective shows. Sometimes I like to watch like feel-good TV shows. So for example, what I liked recently watch on Netflix was, now I'm remembering Wednesday because this was one of the recent watch. I really like watching Lucifer. I really watch, you know, those feel-good movies like Good Witch or Virgin River. I enjoy watching. I remember still really having a good memory about Shadowhunters. I watch Wing Saga. So yeah, I watch a few things and I enjoy them. So yeah, this winter when I didn't know what to watch, I clicked on Alchemy of Soils. Alchemy of Soils. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it totally wrong. And I really enjoyed. It is, I really like that it was, you know, Asian-based magic world where I really like the description in the world, no, in the country you will not find on the maps or in the history books, you know. There lived like sorcerers which can take, you know, magic from the lake, and you know, like these magic elements, and then they can do, you know, and fight really well. And I like that story started, you know, with a strong female character. She lost her parents at a young age, and she was raised as an assassin. And then through the Alchemy of Soils, she sort of lose everything, and she found a boy who really wanted to learn how to, you know, do some magic, but nobody was willing to train him. And she didn't have any, you know, problems by trying to help him and train him, while she was not able to do everything. So at first I thought, oh, yes, strong female character, but now when I'm looking, she didn't got a lot of at least her powers in, I don't know, in a long time, and she's not as strong as I was hoping her to be. But it was still a really nice TV show. I really enjoyed. It has part 1 and part 2. It is 20 episodes and 10 episodes, and one episode lasts for around 1 hour length. So it was really, I remember those few days when I watched, I was hooked. I cannot stop it. And then I had to rewatch it just to enjoy it in slower pace and enjoy a little bit more, maybe, you know, the Korean culture, or, you know, the the outfit designs and etc. Because it is a little bit, you know, different what I'm used to seeing in, I know, American and European media. And I felt like doing research when I was watching all these Korean TV shows, you know, to trying to maybe find what is maybe different, what is the same, you know, what is important fields in their culture. So it was seen, you know, that it's really important that you have to, I think, in a way, obey your elders, you know, to be respectful towards them, but not just in this TV show. Some elders were acting worse than the kids sometimes, or they were really, I felt sometimes uncomfortable, because I used to watch into elders like a little bit wise persons, and in some cases they were acting like, I know, stubborn toddlers. I don't know if it is a good expression. And for some I don't know, people, characters in this show, it was also, I wanted a little bit more maturity from elders, and, you know, less, you have to, you know, listen to me because I'm your elder, and more. Okay, it wasn't the main line, but I said that I noticed those things because it is not as now important or valued in, I think, culture around me. You have to earn your respect, and you have to respect, I think, even kids, not just elders, but you have to respect everyone around you if you want to be respected. And of course, sometimes some people doesn't deserve respect, but it is like it is. So you shouldn't, you know, act as you want and then expect everyone to respect you just because you are elderly, you're rich, or whatever the reason. You should respect each other. So that was my point. Did I notice anything else in that show? What would be different culture now that I'm thinking of? Yeah, I think I can move on to another one. So that, and the second one was my first detective show, Korean, I watched. And I want to mention that almost all of them were just season 1. But what was nice that those episodes are long, and, you know, it is maybe 16, 20 episodes in the, you know, season 1. So it was still a good watch, but I still was sometimes really sad that they don't have like second season, or, you know, doesn't continue the storylines, especially when I really enjoyed some characters and was just enjoying the dynamics. I was quite sad that then I had to search for something new. So Flower of Evil, if I remember correctly, it was just 1 season, but it was really good story, and it starts when a detective woman who is married to a guy who looks like, you know, perfect husband. The husband is adored by their daughter. She really loves him. He is considerate. He, for example, even prepares breakfast for, you know, kindergarten teachers. Just being, thoughtful, you know, husband. He takes care of, you know, really well of the family and etc. But he immediately it is presented that he has mysterious past, that his parents maybe are not his parents, and later on we figured out that he is hiding like a secret, that he is sort of responsible for one person's death, that he is a son of the serial killer, and he has a sister, and all the bodies of all the dead bodies were found after his father's death. So, you know, when the serial killer died, it was found where he buried them, and then the whole town really hated him and his sister, and then the person who took them in was found dead, and all the evidence, of course, were showing to him, and then he ran away. And so yeah, and now he's dating a detective, and he was always struggled to show the emotions, so he'd sometimes watch even videos how to show sadness or love, you know, how to smile. And it was a really good story. I really loved and enjoyed and watched, and I thought that the last, I don't know, the last problem The really last one was started feeling like telenovela a little bit. They ran maybe too much, but overall it was really strong, really interesting, and I even downloaded it to watch maybe second time when I'm on the plane. This show, but now let me check. I think, yeah, yes. I needed to knit two together. So yeah, I downloaded even to watch it on the planes or anywhere else when I just have my phone and no internet connection or activities to do. But it is not as interesting because now I know everything about it, and that I feel like really spoils that enjoyment and maybe newness and the impact of the story. So I really loved it, but I didn't rewatch it. But highly recommended. And the next one is Suspicious Partner. That one maybe even had more episodes, and it was quite long and interesting story. And what was interesting, what I never felt like normal TV shows do, that they done something, and then just 2 years later, and then continuing in just, I think, after 4th episode, then 2 years later, and then the 5th episode or something like that, or the 5th episode. So that was interesting, and I felt like in Suspicious Partner it was showing more how sometimes also what I don't like about romance usually, that they overcomplicate romantic things, that they don't see on the exact same time that they like each other, so it's overcomplicating the romance line. And I felt like in Suspicious Partner that was a little bit the case. But the detective storyline was really interesting. I think when I was started watching, it was presented, so maybe I will spoil first 5 episodes. I'm sorry about it, but I think in the trailer we were a little bit spoiling, just giving up what to expect. So the girl, I think, recently finished up her studies, and she joins to work in the prosecution office. Which was really interesting because I don't feel like in American or other TV shows they were really showing what is the difference between prosecution, it was just detectives who found all the evidence and they don't maybe take the court interest at all. But at least in Korea, as understood from all these TV shows, the prosecution also works a little bit like a detectives. They try to investigate. Of course, they have more power and more like detectives to do maybe this work. They work in teams, not alone. But yeah, they collect evidence and then prosecutors try to punish the wrongdoings, and of course lawyers try to defend, and then judge makes a decision guilty or not. So that was really interesting, and there were in few shows jokes like you would be such a good lawyer, or for saying to prosecutor, for example, that you're every not defendant offended is found out not guilty, so you would be a really good lawyer, haha, you're such a terrible prosecutor, or that you want to put bad guys really badly into the jail, so you shouldn't be a lawyer and scream on your clients, you should be a prosecutor. But prosecution, it is like public institution, so it is really important that get well with higher ups and don't get fired, because for the lawyers, if you find the clients, if someone wants you that you would defend them and pay for you for this service, and you pass your exams, legal exams, then it's totally fine, you can work as a lawyer. But to be a prosecutor is a little bit more problematic, or not problematic, a little bit more difficult. And in this one it was a little bit brought up about corruption, but I think that later on shows had a way more, and especially the last one, just corruption. It was like a little bit spicing up. But yeah, so the girl finishes up, starts in prosecution, and it happens that uh, she used to date one guy, but the boy cheated on her. So she was really unhappy about it, and she was making, because they're in the same area, everyone knew about it, and she was making jokes that I will kill you, which is obviously that is a really bad thing to joke about. And one that time she was working at home, doing something, but she took her maybe glasses off, she opened the window, and actually later on it was shown that she saw someone, but she actually didn't see it because she didn't see that well without her glasses. Where the guy was, while the guy was hiding body in the, I don't know, on the roof. And she left, to take a break. She went to the nearest shop to buy some drinks, maybe energy drinks or whatever. And then she comes back, and in her apartment, her ex-boyfriend was dead because he came to visit her, to say maybe, oh, I still love you or something like that, while he was drunk. And that murderer came, to kill a witness, which was she, but she didn't know that she is a witness. So she has to be prosecuted, and at the time she had she paid in cash because that there was no power, power outage at that moment, and everyone wanted her to be almost prosecuted. But yeah, in a way it was done that the guy who was prosecuting found 2 murder weapons, which is impossible, so of course at least one has to be fake, and another one was way too far away to be able to be dropped in that half-an-hour window while she was out, because it was maybe 7 kilometers in distance or whatever, so you cannot, I don't know, run back and forth and kill a person at the same time. So yeah, that starts, but since guy says that I cannot prosecute her and takes back the claims, that guy is fired because the boy who was killed was head prosecutor's kid. So of course he is not happy. Then he thinks that his son's killer is walking free. So yeah, it was really complicated story, and then they have to live their lives, which is not that easy. And the girl sometimes was called lack of evidence miss. So yeah, by then they have to solve this mystery too with life and etc. But that was really interesting also storyline, I felt like, and it was yeah, I don't know what to say more without spoiling anything. I highly recommend to watch it too if you are interested in storylines and to see detective work too. Moving forward, after this one, I was watching the next second not detective show. It was Business Proposal, which I would classify mostly as a romance, but it had some interest idea. So in Korea, what I also get to know, especially from later on TV shows, it was still quite popular. If you're a rich kid, your parents try to find you, the right match, and you're going to blind dates until you find, the guy or girl which you like, and you will be married, but they are pre-approved from your, parents' pool. So in Business Proposal, there is no new CEO of the huge company, and that guy decides to go to this blind date because his uncle will not stop putting him onto the date. So if he faster marries, he can get his time back, and start concentrating into the work more. And there is a not rich girl and a rich girl which are friends, and rich friend had to go to the dates, but she wanted to marry out of love, she wanted to fall in love and etc., and not maybe necessarily marry a rich guy. So she asked her friend to help her get out of those dates once they were acting like, the possession took over. And this time this girl says, please go into my place and make sure this guy doesn't want to marry me. So that girl wins, her friend, poor her friend wins because the friend promised her to give some money because she was a little bit struggling, pay for the service, get rid of the guy. But surprise, surprise, she meets her boss. Of course, he doesn't know that it is her boss because she lives in the research team and CEO. How often do you meet him? So she tries to do everything repulsive and act like she's a crazy ass bitch, so he wouldn't want to contact, because the guys want to polite, nice, quiet girls. But in the same time, that guy, well, this girl is interesting. I need to get out of this, situation so I can concentrate into the work. Let's get married. And of course, it is more complicated, and it, just involves by it involves with time how it is. I know those relationships are going. So it is funny, it was interesting, but I felt especially in one episode, I felt like going back into my, childhood age where it was a lot of, I'm sorry, there, when it was popular to make those ugly duckling movies and TV shows, and almost where the girl is doesn't consider it attractive until she gets a haircut and changes the clothes and takes off her glasses, and then she's a 10 now. So those times and with women play, so in some cases it was really one was really unethical part, and power imbalance and etc. So yeah, it is funny idea if they would keep both of them partners more even. Of course, the richer is more even usually in the world than poor ones. And with scandals, of course, rich man and poor girl, who will be more affected. But in some cases, that guy was not that good. I don't know what to say. It was interesting to see, but I was not. It has problems. It had some problems in it, but it was fun show. Then the next one I watch is Partners for Justice, and that one I was expecting, and I think it was meant to have more seasons. It was 2 seasons, and second season came out in 2020. So, and it felt like it was one of the shows where it was not finished, where it gave like not full cliffhanger, but you can see where they can continue the main storyline further. But it was of course now is completed. I think it was due to Corona that they were not able to film it, and then maybe decided that it is not worth it. So I was quite sad of it. And it was Partners for Justice is about a young prosecutor girl who came to know the first time into work. She was from the rich family, so of course she also had to go to one of the dates, but then she gets separated from her family because she likes to do her job, but and her motivation to do her job at first was also, I saw in the American movies that it felt interesting because they were mentioning that the grade was hers high enough for her to become a judge, but she wanted to do more maybe leg work and mind work to collect all the evidence and solve the cases. So really enjoyed again that one of the lead characters was the girl, and she was doing a great job. And this was a show presented that she met this really competent I forgot how they called it, no, forensic analyst, but that the person who cuts the dead bodies. I forgot how it is called. I remember just now, I think. I just remember now in Lithuanian. I don't remember in English how it is called. But yeah, she met the guy who collects evidence from the body and helps to solve the cases. So he maybe is he investigates bodies really well. He doesn't miss a detail, and he like teaches. It was like he is older, but maybe 10, 15 or 20 years older than that girl, because the girl just finished her exam. It was her like first job after high school, not high school, after her university. I'm not sure which levels they are required or how many years, but it feels like the girl is 25 something and the guy is at least 35, if not 40. So in the same cases, it felt like it's almost getting their romance, and it was just, why not just mentorship, friends and whatever in those 2 seasons, but they didn't click on it, so just work friends. And of course there were some unsatisfaction about like don't create stories. I think that guy was usually told, and most of the people are not liking work with him because he's not the most politest one, but he's collecting evidence really well, and sometimes so well so he can even like do not help and maybe help for the defendants and not the prosecutors. But he does his job really well, and he finds all the evidence as he can, and he actually does a lot of job. So yeah, so this is like proposed, center of the TV show. But in the second season, the girl was pushed into the side a little bit, and there was more higher ups. It was a lot of corruption, solving and etc. And this is where I feel like most of the corruption schemes was starting to show up, and solving is no huge problem in those TV shows. So it was interesting. I was sad that they just didn't continue after 2 seasons. And I don't know why, and it was not maybe clicking that much as before ones, some of them. Yeah, it felt like it's supposed to be long-lasting detective TV show, not to one season solve it all, solve few other cases while you're solving your lifelong mystery. Let's call that. The next one, Witched Court, I really also enjoyed. It was a girl. She is maybe a little bit too loud. Maybe sometimes her collection, how she collects evidence, is also not the most liked. But she is bright. She fights a lot because she has the goals she wants to achieve. And her mom went missing when she was a kid, and she was always wanted to find her. So this is why she started working, and I think she wanted always, I don't know, go to the missing people or whatever case. She also started working in the prosecution, but it was way more corruption, and she, as I said, she is not the most liked one, so she had to go into another section and met a boy, which is really nice, calm. He was the therapist before, and now he decided that he wants to do the crimes. But of course, he had backstory of why he wanted to change his profession, and it was really nice, dynamic duo, I would say, too, in a way. And I really liked that girl because she was, she was brave. She was, sometimes not in her place or whatever, because this is how the show was even called, Witch at Court, just but her moral was in the place. She was maybe not the best tactics chooses, but she was good at her work, and she didn't deserve maybe that many falls and bad life as she got. But it was really interesting show, I would say. And moving to the last one, The Good Detective, I'm still watching it and it clicked for me the least. I think one of the reasons is that it doesn't have more strong female characters. I would say just one. It looks like it's like sort of the main, but it's not that main. It is the reporter, and there is few detectives, and there's a lot of detectives, just the whole male workforce. Of course, it is realistic that in some places not women doesn't become detectives and they don't investigate cases together. But in the show, and it is really dark. I think why I don't like it too, because it's so much corruption. Everyone looks like they are corrupt, and it's so heavy, it's some unhappy place, and I don't have a character to stick on it. So I watch, I think now 10 episodes, but as I said, some of those shows I watch in 2 days. I watch those 10 episodes maybe in 10 weeks. Not 10 weeks, 2 weeks. So around an episode per day or something like that. So it's really not catching me that much. So hopefully in the future I will find more, again, those clicky TV shows I love to watch. But for now, I'm watching that, which is not clicking for me that much. And yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed my little reviews and recommendations, what to watch in Netflix, Korean detective TV show area mostly. And I'll see you next time. Bye!